Good evening. Good evening. I have the time as 7:31. Nope, no teacher voice is required. I will call this public hearing and regular business meeting of the Mayor and Council for the City of Snellville, Georgia on Monday, September 28th, 2020 to order. We do have some guests in the audience I would like to recognize, and I know some of them are going to be coming up here to speak in a moment, but we have Representative Brett Harrell with us tonight. We have the Executive Director of the Gwinnett Municipal Association, Randy Meacham, here with us tonight. We have County Commission Chairman Charlotte Nash is here with us tonight, and we have the Director of Partnership Gwinnett, Andrew Carnes, is here with us tonight. So we'll start with our invocation, and we have former Mayor Tom Witz is going to provide the invocation tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Dear
Tom,
Lord,
if you can, I don't know if that microphone is on. Is it on?
Red is on? Okay, we're on. Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, we ask that you be present with us this evening and with this august body as they deliberate the issues and the future of our city. We pray that you give him the necessary knowledge to understand the issues and the wisdom to make the decision which best serves the city of Snellville. We ask this in the name of your Son, our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Tom. Next, we'll have the pledge to the flag led by David Emanuel. Thank you, Dave. Now, under ceremonial matters, we'll start with a presentation from the Georgia Municipal Association to Representative Brett Harrell. Randy Meacham will provide the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor Bender and members of the council and Butch Sanders. And I have a few words to say. I'm Randy Meacham with the Georgia Municipal Association this evening, and I've been drafted by the legislative team to make a presentation that goes to just very few people at the end of each biennium. And what we're here tonight is to recognize Representative Brett Harrell, who is also the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, and his efforts to author a House Bill 276. And this is called the Marketplace Facilitator Bill, and has just been a real, what a boost for the state of Georgia, for the cities in the state of Georgia. And I probably would leave the money comments up to Representative Harrell, but we do have what's called the Champion of Georgia Cities Award that's given to a select few each year. And it's my privilege to present that this evening to Representative Harrell and thank him for all he's done for our cities in the state of Georgia.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, sir. We can get that too.
I have lots of titles. Some can't be repeated tonight.
Tell us the good news about 476.
Well, thank you, Randy. And thank y'all. As you all know, I appreciate the work you do, but I don't come here unless I'm invited. I try to stay in my lane at the State House. I don't get involved in federal politics. I don't get involved in county politics. I don't get involved in city politics. I have very strong opinions, and you may not want to invite me too often. But in this case, the market-based facilitator bill, as well as a number of other initiatives that I've championed, were not right for cities. They were right for the very citizens that each of you represent. The same citizens that I represent, the same citizens that our federal government represents. That's who we're elected to champion. So the facilitator bill took all those brick and mortar retailers in Snellville, the mom and pops that sell t-shirts or flowers or whatever it is they sell in Snellville, and put them on an equal playing field with those that sold the same items online that were shipped into Snellville. And it's only fair that those online retailers should pay the same tax burden that the retailers in Snellville paid. And so this was a difficult issue, but I was happy to champion it. And GMA is often, they're present at every committee meeting that I'm at in Ways and Means. So my role at Ways and Means now is all tax issues come before me, whether they be local, state, or whether they be federal issues that affect the state citizens. And GMA is there every day. And they do a wonderful job representing the interests of the corporate government of cities of Georgia. But I don't represent the corporate government of the federal government or the state government or the city government. I represent the individual citizens that make up the communities that each of those governments represent. So that whether that be rectifying a retirement program that Gretchen excluded your husband, to fix it so that he was included, that was wrong, and the government was mistreating him, and I fixed that for him, or whether that means representing all the citizens of Snellville to include their sanitation within the corporate tax policy of the city that saved every homeowner in Georgia over $14 million since the implementation of that program. So if you take your unencumbered budget surplus today and add $14 million to that, that's what you have saved the individual homeowners of Snellville. So I appreciate GMA recognizing me for championing this award, but it's nothing that I did. All I did was represented the same people that you represent and stood up for their best interest. And I appreciate you doing the same thing every day. So thank y'all for inviting me. If you ever desire my presence, just ask. Otherwise, I won't be here. I don't show up on the front row of church pews. I don't show up on the front row of city councils or county commissions and pander for politics. But I have served this community as a council member, as a planning commissioner, as a mayor, as a CID representative, and now as a state representative. And as you can see by the pictures on the wall, it has never been about Brett. It's been about what's best for the citizens that I represent. And so thank you for having me here today. Thank you for GMA for recognizing this particular piece of legislation. And I think it was a piece of legislation that is significant and benefits the citizens of the state of Georgia and the businesses they participate in, the brick and mortar businesses and communities throughout our state. After a couple of months of tax collections, we think the average revenue is around $35 million in plus monthly revenue to the state, which then distributed to the local governments. So it was a significant piece of legislation. So thank y'all for having me. Thank you for inviting me. If you need me again, just call. Otherwise, I'll be in Atlanta. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Representative Harrell. We appreciate all your efforts at the State House for us. And now we'll have Proclamation 2020-12, Recognition of Georgia Cities Week. It's October 4th through the 10th of 2020. Whereas city government is the closest to most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents. And whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to and understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along their understanding of public services and their benefits. And whereas Georgia Cities Week is a very important time to recognize the important role played by city government in our lives. And whereas this week offers an important opportunity to spread the word to all the citizens of Georgia that they can shape and influence this branch of government which is closest to the people. And whereas the Georgia Municipal Association and its member cities have joined together to teach students and other citizens about municipal government through a variety of different projects and information. And whereas Georgia Cities Week offers an important opportunity to convey to all the citizens of Georgia that they can shape and influence government through their civic involvement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Barbara Bender, Mayor of the City of Snellville, Georgia, where everybody's proud to be somebody, do hereby join with our City Council and the citizens of Snellville to declare October 4th through the 10th, 2020, as Georgia Cities Week, and encourages all citizens, city government officials, and employees to do everything possible to ensure that this week is recognized and celebrated accordingly. That's our proclamation. Next, we'll have the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the September 14th, 2020 meetings.
He went too fast for me.
Can you tell me that date?
September 14th, 2020.
Okay. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It is 6 in favor and none opposed. We have several invited guests tonight, and first I would like to call Chairman Charlotte Nash with the Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners forward.
I'm smiling behind the mask. You see my smiling just a little bit. Mayor and Council, I'm delighted to be with you this evening and appreciate the chance to have just a few minutes on your agenda. I'm here really as part of what I'm describing as my farewell tour. During the last quarter, I'm going to be serving in this position. I'm going to attempt to make it to every single city council meeting at least once during that time period for each of the 16 cities. Not sure if I'll get, the question is, when does Mayor Waycaster hold his council meeting? So I've got to get that tied down. I think I can get it worked out though. And I'm really here primarily to express appreciation. I may get a little emotional because this is emotional to me. And I've put my thoughts into a letter which I'll leave a copy of for you all, but if you'll bear with me while I read this, it will keep me on script and be a shorter discussion than if I try to ad-lib it because I'll add too many things. The subject of my correspondence is appreciation, Mayor and Council. as the end of my final term as Gwinnett County Commission Chair draws closer, I find myself thinking about the ups and downs of the last 9 years. All of us in public office experience those, and if we are fortunate, the good times outweigh the difficult. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of the highlights for me has been the relationship we all have cultivated between Gwinnett Cities and Gwinnett County, and the good things we have accomplished together for the entire community. Oftentimes, it is easier to allow differences of opinion and perspective to divide us, so it takes real work to focus on the broader goals to foster cooperation. The City of Snellville leadership has played a significant role in the building of positive city-county relationships over the last decade, and I appreciate the personal and collective efforts of you and your staff. I will always be grateful that Gwinnett Cities were willing to return to the negotiating table in 2011 to work towards settlement of the lingering dispute over service delivery strategy. Resolution of this dispute gave us all a chance to refocus energy and effort on positive initiatives rather than continuing to let it weaken our ability to work cooperatively on major issues. With the most recent SDS negotiations, I am pleased that we were able to come to agreement among ourselves without prolonging the process unnecessarily or resorting to litigation. And thank you, Mayor Bender, for the very personal and special effort that you put into making sure that happened. I believe the IGAs we put in place will serve the entire community over the next decade and beyond. Looking specifically at joint efforts between the City of Snellville and the county, there are many that we could cite as examples of what working cooperatively can accomplish, including several joint transportation projects that involve the use of SPLOST funding. We all can celebrate the way our respective staffs work together every day to serve the public, whether it is public safety, transportation, water and sewer, or other functions. Of course, COVID-19 and its impacts have provided us with new opportunities to work together as we have struggled to make decisions for our communities. Having the chance to share ideas and concerns among the cities and county has been very helpful. I believe that our community-wide response has benefited from our attempts to make decisions in coordination with each other, even when we may have had different opinions about the steps that should be taken. For the future, I drove by it as I came out down the Wisteria, the sign. I'm very excited about the Grove at Town Center and look forward to seeing that project move forward. Congratulations to all of you on striking agreements with private sector partners that will help the city realize its dreams for an invigorated town center. Gwinnett County is pleased to partner with the city by placing at the Grove the new building for the Elizabeth H. Williams Library Branch. While I will no longer have an official role after the end of 2020, please know that I will be watching with interest happenings in Snellville and across Gwinnett County. You can be sure I'll be cheering you from the sidelines. Thank you.
And Chairman Nash, I want to take an opportunity as well to thank you for the relationships that you have fostered from the county side of things. Your coming into office, I think, has been a great accomplishment for the county, and we really do have a really great working relationship between all of the cities with Gwinnett Municipal and the County Commission. And I think a lot of that is due to your leadership. And settling that SDS litigation in 2011, and then just we had our little bumps in the last go round, but we were able to go through that. And I think with those relationships that we had cultivated, it was easy to pick up the phone and just talk and work through everything. I think you have done a tremendous job, and I hold a lot of respect for you. So thank you. Okay, Andrew, you have a lot to follow up now. Next, we'll have Andrew Carnes with Partnership Gwinnett to give us a little annual report.
I know. I don't know how to follow Chairman Nash. That was I'll do my best. But Mayor, Council, I want to thank you very much for having me here this evening. And I will say, we talk about partnerships, and actually I wasn't planning on talking about this, but one of the partnerships that, because of the county and because of the city and what you guys have done, obviously there's a small facility in unincorporated Gwinnett County just down 78. It's the Amazon facility. Whenever the Amazon facility went in, obviously it was being built. Amazon called me and said, did we just read that Gwinnett County and all 16 cities came out with one joint message of a stay-at-home order for all citizens, no matter if you're in the city or one of our 16 cities, or the county or one of our 16 cities. And I said, you're exactly correct. That's exactly what happened. The response back from Amazon said, that's why we landed in Gwinnett County, right there. And of course that was music to my ears as the point of contact that is selling this community to companies across the globe, and why we are a great place to do business. But that is just one testimonial to what the council have done, but also Gwinnett County has done. And so I want to thank you from my standpoint, because it makes selling a community a heck of a lot easier whenever you have elected officials that are truly on the same page. So thank you very much. Okay, so actually what I did come here to talk a little bit about is Partnership Gwinnett. And so my name is Andrew Carnes. I'm the Vice President of Economic Development for Partnership Gwinnett. And Partnership Gwinnett is the economic marketing arm for Gwinnett County, as well as all 16 cities. And our goal and our job is really main three goal areas, if you're not familiar with PG and Partnership Gwinnett, of what we do. The first goal is everything to do with jobs: recruit, retain, and expand businesses in 5 targeted industries. The second goal is everything to do with workforce development, making sure that our technical schools, our career academies, our universities, and our school systems understand the types of jobs that these companies are coming here and looking for, frankly. And then last but not least is goal 3. Goal 3 is everything to do with community development. It talks a lot about redevelopment, and obviously with the project that you guys have coming out of the ground sooner than later is heavily intertwined to redevelopment, and why it's so crucial to the success of our communities and that sort of thing. And so I just want to come in quickly and tell you a little bit about the activity that we've seen. We've never been busier. And the reason I say that is because companies like YSS that's in the city, they were making uniforms, and then whenever the pandemic hit, they switched over and they started making masks. I'm sure Tori and her whole team, and I'm sure the mayor and council have heard, they have received a number of federal contracts to continue this additional vertical. Oh, is it? They do a phenomenal, and I see the blue and that sort of thing. So they do a phenomenal job there. And I remember talking to Tori, and she called up actually Eric, and Eric, flipped her to me, and we said, hey, she said, we need 300 people to start making additional masks whenever the community needed them. And so we made some introductions, and they were able to get those people. Another company that is growing, expanding here in the city, is Tomco. Tomco has done a great job. They're acquiring companies left and right, and the reason is because they love the growth, they love being in the city, and they love Gwinnett County. So with me saying that, our project pipeline has never been as robust as it is right now. And any sales organization knows that your pipeline needs to be so big for you to land a small portion of those companies. And so we're seeing that pipeline continue to grow. We're hovering about 140 projects right now. We typically hover around 100. but we're hovering around 140. We have 22 projects currently that we have not announced. And the reason that we have not announced those is because the company hasn't given us the go-ahead to do that. And I'll give you an example. We have a company that is moving their corporate headquarters here from California, and they hadn't let the 200 people in California know that they are losing their job. And so obviously keeping that confidential is extremely, extremely crucial. And we make sure that the NDAs that we sign and the respect for the companies is given. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because, I mean, we have 22 companies that are either relocating or expanding in Gwinnett County that we haven't announced. And so the activity continues to grow. The last thing that I do want to mention really, really quick is obviously we're still seeing a lot of companies interested in essential businesses and what classifies as essential business and how to return back to work. And so we're working with a number of different companies on, the right protocol and making sure that they have the policies and procedures in place to making sure that that the staff members feel comfortable coming back to work, but also they come back safely so they can continue to make their product and ultimately continue to employ those individuals. And so we've done a number of webinars and meetings and that sort of thing to make sure that we're communicating back and forth with our CEOs and our company leaders and that sort of thing. And so last but not least, Mayor, and I promise I'll be quiet and take questions if you have any questions. But the one thing I will say is every 5 years we do a strategic plan. And Partnership Gwinnett, whenever PG was created, with the mayor and the council and this entire community, we brought in a firm to put together a roadmap, for a lack of a better term, and that was Market Street Services a number of years ago. We have now hired another strategic firm every single 5 years to come in and put that roadmap together. And that process is starting, and obviously you guys are heavily intertwined into that process. But the roadmap for the next 5 years for Gwinnett County and all 16 cities is going to finalize, is going to be final, and it's going to be presented to all of us, the entire community, in February. And of course, that's going to give Partnership Gwinnett our roadmap to implement over the next 5 years. And so there's a survey out there. Obviously, Eric and the entire team is heavily intertwined. And I want to thank the mayor and council for your continued investment into PG, and obviously your support is second to none. So I do want to appreciate it. But Mayor, if I'm allowed to, can I take questions? If there's any questions, or if we have time for questions?
Sure. Are there any council members that have any questions? Nope.
Good.
I think you've done a good job.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And now we have no committee or department report, so we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda with the following addition. Consideration and action on approval of the addition of item D under new business. Approval of Exhibit 1 from the sub-recipient agreement for use of Treasury coronavirus relief funds.
There's a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of item D. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed, so the agenda is set. We have no items under our public hearing and no consent agenda and no old business, so we'll move into new business. We have item A, consideration and action on surplus of city vehicles. We just have 2 vehicles that are a little worn that we are putting out to pasture. If there's an appropriate vote, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the surplus of the 2 city vehicles.
There's a motion to approve the surplus. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Next, we'll move to item B, consideration and action on contract with CHA for intersection design, Wisteria and 124 intersection. This is the intersection right here where the Denny's was. at 124 and Wisteria Drive to put a signal at that intersection and make Harbor Oaks Drive a right-in, right-out only entryway there onto 124. It will not be a four-way intersection. It'll be a three-way intersection. The county was in charge of that project, and the city took over the management of that just because they've got a lot on their plate. And so we are going to, are asking for approval of this contract with CHA for the design work. So with that information, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the contract to CHA in the amount not to exceed the final bid price of $215,064.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any comments by this council? Nope. Then seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Next, we have item C, consideration and action for approval of CIS proposal for on-call engineering services. CIS is a firm that I, as a CPA, do some work for them. So I am going to, although it's a professional relationship and not a conflict, out of an abundance of caution, I am going to recuse myself. So I am going to step out, and Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel will take over.
Thank you. I just bought it the other day. This item, I think, Mr. Sanders, can you give us a little background on so people understand what we're talking about?
Sure. When the city, I imagine, eliminated the position of an in-house engineer, we have always started the process of hiring an on-call engineer. Currently, that on-call engineer is Clark Patterson and Lee. Since they are so heavily involved with the design of the parking deck and the stormwater in the town center, they obviously could not oversee their own work. So we instituted a search for the best on-call engineer to fill that position, and we're recommending that that be Collaborative Infrastructure Solutions. Their rate was very competitive, and their prior knowledge of the work that was done, infrastructure that was put in during the LCI project is just second to none and very helpful.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the CIS proposal for on-call engineering services.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? With none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 5 in favor, none opposed. We can ask the mayor to step back in.
I hope Dave did okay.
I did. We have to talk about it later, though.
Oh, I get chocolate as a treat now for coming back. Thanks, Todd. Okay, now we'll go to item D, the CARES Act subrecipient agreement. Boy, that's a mouthful. For U.S. Department of Treasury coronavirus relief funds. And just so you know what this is, the federal government provided relief funds to government, state and local governments. And our funds came to Gwinnett County We are one of 4 counties, I think, in the state where the funds went through the county government, and then the county government is distributing funds out to the cities. So we have come to an agreement with the county on how the funds would be shared out between the cities and what they could be used for under the federal rules. And so as a result of that, we have a sub-recipient agreement that will be done between the Gwinnett County and the city of Snellville. And so with that, to approve, we've got to approve that we're going to accept these funds and use them as the government provides, and then provide Gwinnett County with all the documentation for those funds. So that's what we've added to the agenda tonight, because we just got this agreement, was sent to us on Friday after the agenda was published. And it's imperative that we get this done right away, because the funds have to be spent by December, or we lose the ability to use those funds. So with that explanation, is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, make a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement for use of U.S. Department of Treasury coronavirus relief funds, and authorize the mayor to execute the documents as necessary.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. With that, that concludes our business of the meeting tonight. So we will go to council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Solange DeStang.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I just want to make you aware, and I know you already know, but just an extra awareness, that we are in the National Hispanic Heritage Month, which started on September 15 and will last all through to October 15. And the National Hispanic Heritage Month, traditionally, it honors the cultures and contributions of both Hispanic and Latino Americans as we celebrate their heritage throughout the U.S., right? Because it's not just isolated to certain neighborhoods or certain states, you know. We're celebrating it actually globally, even within their own countries. They also have the little celebrations going. Also last night, I had the honor of attending the 3rd Racial Healing Listening and Gathering, which was hosted by the Southeast Gwinnett Co-op, by the ministry. And those of you guys who know me, you know I love anything that deals with multicultural, international, diversity, I mean, you name it, okay? I just love to permeate myself in that. And the intent, actually, of this, this event, it was to provide a safe space for conversations to go on regarding racial healing. And the conversations that we had brought about awareness that there are certain people, right, or some people, who are actually culturally blind. With culturally blind, we mean that they are treating everyone the same and expect that everyone thinks and behaves and responds the same without regard to cultural differences that exist. And we know that each person or each culture is different, right? We know that. So in order to combat that, or in order to change it, we can change it in the following ways. By starting to understand our own cultural biases and how they might impact others. We also have to build out personal interactions with diverse people and gain the knowledge about their culture, right? Like they want to learn about yours, and you teach them, you learn about theirs, right? We also have to learn to build positive relationships, which leads to successful interactions with other cultures. And that is highly needed, right, in the world now, in light of everything that's going on, for us to learn to understand each other. And I'm just going to close my council report with the following words. We are all different, but God called us to love one another the same way. Thank you.
Thank you, Solange. Councilmember Warner.
Yeah, I was dumb enough at the beginning of Solange's term to say, let her go first. And now I always get to follow her, and it's always a very, very tough assignment. But last Thursday, Mayor and Council got together, and we went on a economic development trip to Alpharetta. How do you say that place? Alpharetta, the city of Alpharetta, to visit a co-working space called Thrive. And as we develop our town center, on top of the beautiful Elizabeth Williams Library will be a city space that hopefully will also contain a co-working space. And this is one of the operators that we're looking at to potentially help businesses thrive here in the city of Snellville, which is what all of our goal actually should be. We got a lot of really good information, and while we were up there, we looked at some other town center developments that, let's just say, didn't meet muster, and we're hoping that that makes us all much smarter and we will end up with a better product. And I guess that's it.
Thank you, Todd. Councilmember Linsky?
Snellville Youth Commission is currently accepting new applications, hoping to build up our membership just a little bit, and it's been a challenge, of course, this year with the circumstances of face-to-face learning, very limited in our school system. We actually are going to be meeting with the students tomorrow virtually to continue on a theme of checking in with their mental health and how they're doing right now, keeping their spirits up. Also had the pleasure last week of presenting a resolution to South Gwinnett High School's Teacher of the Year for the 2020-2021 school year, Career and Technical Education teacher Danielle Swaby. So special congratulations to her. And thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Christy. Councilmember Schultz?
I just wanted to remind everybody that early voting starts October 12th. You might want to mark that on your calendar because I know we're going to try to early vote because we don't know what it's going to be like on Election Day. There are a couple sites where you can early vote. One is the voter registration office over on Grayson Highway in Lawrenceville, and they'll be open 8 to 5 beginning October 12th through October 30th for early voting. Then there are other sites in the county. The two closest to Snellville are the Lenora Park Gym and the fairgrounds on Sugarloaf Parkway, and both those sites will be open from 7 in the morning until 7 p.m. at night. So I encourage everybody to vote. As we've all been told, this is a very, very important election this year. And then I also wanted to tell y'all that this Saturday, we start our extended season farmers markets, and we'll be holding a farmers market in the City Hall parking lot from 9 to noon on the first Saturday of every month. We have about 20 vendors signed up for that, so we'll have a nice assortment of produce, meats, eggs, honey, baked goods. And then to help our local farmers, we've added this year, sometimes I think I'm a little crazy, but we've added the third Saturday, we're going to do just a farm products market so that our farmers have another mid-month venue to sell their products, because once a month really isn't enough for them. And that market, the third Saturday, will be smaller. It'll be produce, meats, eggs, honey, just those types of farm products at that market. So we hope you all will attend and support our vendors. I'll do Facebook posts to let everybody know, and Kathy Emanuel does a newsletter prior to every market, and if you haven't signed up for that, she can take an email address and get you signed up for it. So we hope that you'll support the market because it's very important to our vendors and to us as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel?
We have some very influential and helpful guests with us tonight, and I'd like to recognize Charlotte Nash once again. If you haven't been involved in some of the things that go on at the government level, at the city level, at the county level, and between the two of them, Charlotte has just done an exceptional job for the past 9 years. I know it seems like 50, but she has really defined leadership at the county level and has just repeatedly gone above and beyond to make things work. And I think what we see in Gwinnett County is testimony to that. Randy Meacham is another person who I don't think gets the credit he deserves. He's the official behind the Gwinnett Municipal Association, and he's been really pulling things together with our COVID-19 conference calls every Tuesday. Had some battles with people who didn't understand how to mute their phones, so we had some interesting conversations going on twice at the same time. And I'd like to thank former Mayor Tom Wist for showing up and doing the invocation. He's been trying to teach me how to do it, and he just doesn't make any progress, but he did an exceptional job, and thank you, Tom, for what you do for the city.
Thank you, Dave. I would like to just let everybody know we had a citizen here in Snellville. I was contacted a couple weeks ago by his daughter. He was turning 100. And with COVID, of course, they weren't able to have the big party that they had wanted to do. So she asked if we could have some of our police officers do a little drive-by for him, and we had several officers that were able to participate in that. So I would just like to wish Mr. Clarence Page a very happy 100th birthday. And again, my thanks to Chairman Nash for attending the meeting tonight. I know you are super busy, and we appreciate your being here and all the work that you have done for the county. Very much appreciated.
Thank you for the chance to be here.
Absolutely.
I like being on this side of the bench.
It's so much easier, isn't it? And with that, I'll close the mayor's report, and if anyone would like to come forward in the public comment, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing no movement and no one making eye contact, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Is there a second? It's a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. That is 6-0. We are done. Thank you all for coming out tonight.